Opponents, they're dashing all over the place, with Treleaven going back into defence in the last line for the Hawks, which is a bit unusual. Named in the centre on Williams, and Pritchard took a while to pick up his opponent. He was circling the centre square as the umpire bounced it. The umpire will have to bounce again.
Holland and Sexton, as we thought, at centre half forward.
Treleaven's gone down to White in the back pocket. Hawthorn worked the ball out of the centre, through Harford to Pritchard. Pritchard's kick up towards the 50. Holland. Sexton, that'll be a great matchup. Chick across the half-forward line, right out into open space, and there's nobody there for the Hawks. Murphy leads the race. Justin Murphy up towards centre wing. Whitnell drops the mark. Robber and his man. And the ball held up. Ball up at centre wing.
Dennis, just on their back line, Carlton's back line's fantastic the way they get it out, switch direction. Is that something you have to really work hard on, trying to close that down?
Oh, there's no doubt about that. The run off the half-back line of people like Christo and Sexton's a real concern for every team, and they're going to try and exploit Hawthorn in this area today. There's no doubt about that.
Treleaven's now worked out where he is, and he's gone back to midfield, and there he is getting 2 touches with the old 1-2.
Pritchard's picked up White.
And that ball dropping short of half forward, but Harford runs onto it very hard, but runs out of room. He's had a great start to the season, Daniel Harford. Peter Dean starting on the bench, looking pensive.
Good set of gloves there, Gary.
Good set of gloves, yes. I think Harford might have Matty Hogg now, and I think, just looking at it quickly, Aaron Lord might have Mackay.
Oh, you're right, Gary.
He made the change there.
Here's Matty Allen, who'll have a big task today on Salmon. Salmon gets down the ground, there's Lawrence, and Lawrence takes the mark. Fires it across to Treleaven. Towards Chick, his former East Fremantle teammate. At the back, Dunstall. 65 metres from goal, and Silvani's come with him. Possession to neither. Lord. McKay played it well. Ratton caught in a great tackle by Chick. Dunstall off the ground, didn't go 10 metres. No mark to Hickmott. Gee, they're working in tight. Christou finally finds some space for Hogg. Hogg, good ball, and then off to the Rhino. Luke O'Sullivan, 55 metres out. Nobody in the goal square, but he missed it.
Well, it's interesting then, Drew. Sticks had gone right up the ground. There was just no one at all in the 50-metre line for Carlton, so they had to keep running it through, and obviously Rhino just struggling a little bit there to get the distance, but it was amazing. Everyone had just gone right up the ground, setting up a bit of a zone here, Carlton, which they're very, very good at.
Well, we had Dunstall well out of his 50 and Kernahan well out of his 50, so we had virtually the whole 2 teams in the middle 1/3 of the ground. Ratton.
We said last week, didn't we, against the Western Bulldogs, that Hawthorn struggled a little bit on the kick-out. So there's an option up the middle here, and you guys at the other end might be able to pick it up, where Hawthorn perhaps can look at going in sort of a 40-metre kick into that dangerous area midfield.
It's not really the percentages, Craig, but it's a concern every time you muck it up.
Salmon wins the hit out. Lekas gets a little kick.
It's interesting you say that, because, Dennis, that Shorey's a really big one for once being very attacking on the kick-ins and going straight down the middle and really being able to get it down to the forward area very, very quickly.
You make a mistake with it, you pay dearly, I reckon. I reckon you're better off the percentages.
Give that one to Allen. Whitehead working hard at ground level. McKay. There is just no space in this game. Just 1 point to nil. The kick by McKay is out of bounds on the full. Well, Dermott's recovered. He's come up the steps.
Be puffing a bit, I reckon, Drew.
Oh, mate, I am blowing and puffing very hard.
And we missed the shirt front on Reese. Well delivered.
I waited till he turned around and I sconned him.
Bradley towards the 50. Manton. Lawrence missed with the punch, but the ball's out of play.
If this can develop into it looks like it's getting a tiny bit of, it's almost dew falling at the moment, like a late evening, because it's so dark and the clouds are low. It can develop into a mark kick type game. Stevie Lawrence will do very well on Glenn Manton, but other than that, he'll move around a bit too much for him.
Whitehead. Lawrence, good hands. Back to Lord, just gets the kick away. Didn't go far, but still there on the 50. Well, Hawthorn have been playing like this all season, Dermy. We might get a game of rugby here with not much between them.
Well, the thing that was stuck out in my mind already since I've been sitting here where the ball up was in this exact spot about 90 seconds ago. 2 Hawthorn players actually laid definite tackles on the Carlton opponent, which is a pack tackling situation, which is indicative of that football you're talking about.
Well, Raiden Tallis is the man who is picking up Greg Williams, and Diesel hasn't had it yet. Whitehead's hand pass floated up, knocked down by Harford to Treleaven. Bradley. Oh, good mark. No, play on. The umpire said play on. Bradley's walked back to take his kick.
Yeah, he was blindsided, the umpire then. That was definitely a mark.
Looks like Tony Woods is going to be tagging Bradley too, isn't it, Dermy? They're sitting very tight on each other.
No doubt, but I thought it was pretty ordinary play by Woods to let Bradley to the outside of him. The pressure kick was always going to go to the boundary line, so be that side of him for a start.
Kuda didn't have room. Flying through was Bradley. Upset that the mark wasn't paid, no doubt. Pritchard at half-back for the Hawks.
See, once again, when you turn onto that right foot going outwards, you always got to be on the outside of your opponent.
Gee, it's tough in the clinches, isn't it? Treleaven tries one off the ground. Ratton. Williams is there underneath the pack. He gets a hand pass out. The umpire lets it go. Crawford gets it to Treleaven. That's Justin Crawford. Shane not playing. Sexton attempted punch up the ground. Taylor. One out Dunstall. Chance for Holland to robe it. Nobody in front of him. Nick Holland for goal. Good kick.
He's got it. Oh, well, Drew, that's an interesting one, Dennis. I reckon that one skimmed the padding of the goalpost there.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. We went the goal umpire just in front of us, and he knocked the post, Gary.
I actually thought there, Gary, that the short kick was on to Holland before the kick at Dunstall.
Look, absolutely, Dermot. And such as a attraction that Jason Dunstall draws, I guess, is as Sauce goes short. If players are that focused on him, they don't see other players so often, and Holland was definitely on.
We're watching from behind, and now Hickmott kicks over centre wing. Wide for Williams, but too wide for him. He's getting a few hoops from the Hawthorn crowd, but he hasn't bothered the statsmen yet.
No, and just quickly, Gary, that last kick in, Hawthorn put the zone up, but Carlton just picked the eye teeth out of it easily.
Yeah, there was a big gap just probably 25 metres out from goal, so they might have to squeeze that one up.
Salmon a good hit out. O'Sullivan. 1 point each. Hickmott, short of half forward. Lawrence and Manton. Down goes Whitmore. Christou sweeps a hand pass. Chance for the Blues. Hog on the 50. A centering kick. They need a mark. Well done, Lawrence, who had the height in the area. Harford in the back pocket. Salmon. Spoiled by Allen, but Salmon has time to recover. Oh, he's given it straight up to Williams.
I reckon David Parkin just about now, Dennis, has given the old coach's box a whack.
Had a few opportunities they wasted, yeah.
What a pass by Williams to Kernahan. The old firm.
Well, that was interesting. He had Hawthorn players all around him, and Graham had the opportunity to lost him in a bit of traffic there, and Sticks, with his extra height, he's a little bit taller than Graham, took it there. But Manton, I think, is causing a few problems. We haven't seen it yet, but just watching the play off camera, you'll see Lawrence won't be able to go with him if they can get the ball down there quickly.
Well, we've gone 8 minutes without a goal. A point each. Can Kernahan get the first?
Well, this is coming straight at me, Drew, so I should be able to call it. And he's pushed it off the right-hand side of his boot, and it's missed it.
Don't sit on the fence, Ned.
Craig, Hawthorn do have a tall backline with Robert and Lawrence down there, but the tallest and the best forward is taken by one of the, well, not shorter, but the third tallest backman in Graham.
Yeah, exactly, and I mean, it's something they got in trouble with last week a little bit, didn't they?
Robrin's kick towards the broadcast side and punched straight out of bounds.
This is just looking at the game from here, you just really see how huge a presence Paul Salmon has out on the ground, Dennis. I mean, it's hard to get around him, isn't it?
No, he's an amazing footballer. I think he's had a wonderful, well, last year and this year he's been excellent. He won that head out as well.
And I think ruck play's changed a lot. I mean, gone are the days when they can just bludge across half-back and sit there on their own. I mean, Matthew Allen's basically tagging Paul Salmon
Well,
today.
I think most coaches want accountability, and I think that you'll see that all day with Matthew Allen and Paul Salmon.
Tallis with his back to the ball, just tagging Williams and focusing on the great Diesel. McKay, O'Sullivan in trouble. Crummell, well done. Christou in front of Chick, gets it going the Blues way, but Chick wins the footy. Kick smothered by McKay, tapped down by Ratton. Quick hands by Whitehead. Christou back to Ratton. Lord
Gee, the tackling's unbelievable.
Yeah, the interesting one there, the name you pulled out is Chick, number 17. They actually use him up forward, but on a damaging backman that runs forward for the opposition team a lot. Hence this week it's Christo, and it's almost a tagging forward role for Chick week in, week out.
Brilliant salmon, rowed by Bradley. He got it across to Hickmott. Open space on the far side. Murphy. Justin Murphy goes on with it. Good chase by Harford. Long kick, Murphy. First goal.
Well, he had to sit there, didn't he, Dermy? Just had the chance. It was a lovely kick, weighted up above your head, and as a backman, you hate it. And there's Hoggy getting a little bit angry in the middle there. It was interesting, Drew, what you were saying before about Diesel. Is one of his hates at the moment is the fact that players who are tagging him and other midfielders don't even watch the ball. And he's put very bluntly in the paper a number of times he reckons it's against the rules.
Gee, Justin Murphy, just a prodigious talent, isn't he? I mean, he's one of those guys, Dennis, who's a little bit slow to start, but he's only 35 games into his career. He's a pretty exciting talent.
He's a wonderful find for Carlton to get him a player of that quality. It's a real bonus.
The first goal took 11 minutes. Allen for the Blues, but chopped off by Crummell. Here's Williams with about half a metre on Tallis. Ball slid across to Whitehead. Allen, who followed up from the centre circle, but the mark wasn't paid. And Lawrence hacks it out of there.
Should have been played. I mean, Dennis, that's been one of the great things of North Melbourne, has the ability of Corey McKernan to cover the ground and get down for another forward option, as the big fella did then.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. You want to be able to recover, rebound quickly, as well as provide a target, Craig.
It looked like a mark before the spoil came. Well, they've set the standard for the day. They disallowed Bradley and disallowed that one to Allen.
Yeah, well, as long as they're consistent. I know both consistency rulings have been against Carlton at the moment, but as long as they're consistent, it doesn't matter which way it sways to in terms of which team has it put against them the most, as long as they're consistent.
Allen with a climb on Salmon. Bradley a good hand pass. Whitehead's been very good. Ratton. Kernahan.
Beautiful kick.
Kernahan off quickly. Manton. Oh, it's a free kick to Manton right in front.
Yeah, he did just about everything he could, Stevie Lawrence, and
Played on.
well, that's a bit of sneaky play as well. He made sure he went behind the mark for a start and then veered out on it.
Well, again, we said Stevie, I mean, that was probably not the right option for Sticks, but he missed that first one. Perhaps he wasn't that keen on having a shot at goals, but Stevie, being so tall, was able to get back, but gave the freeway. You see here, oh, that's a bit tough, Dermy.
Yeah, there's definitely one. I used to find myself in that situation a lot, and the thing I used to do was actually pretend to mark and run straight at the bloke who's running at you if you knew he didn't have eyes on the ball, run into him deliberately, and the umpire 99 times out of 100 will pay the free kick.
I'll tell you, just on Greg Williams, there was a foot race there for the ball earlier. Whitehead, Koutafidis and Williams, and Whitehead and Koutafidis actually peeled off and let Williams go to the football, such as the respect they have.
On centre wing.
Yeah, for his playmaking ability. I mean, in a foot race, easily get done by 50 metres over 100 with those two.
Oh, Ratton to Bradley and Whitehead again. Kernahan one out.
Get this. Whoop.
Graham has to double back. Kernahan got a boot to it.
It's interesting. Harford's been dragged down into the Carlton forward line. Somehow he's picking up Murphy, which is interesting, and really sort of ending up in the pocket, which is probably a dead spot for him. He really try and get him back up the ground.
Conceding height, Daniel Harford. Lawrence front position has gone goalwards for the Blues and rushed through by Graham.
That's a tactic, Dennis, that coaches use to shake the tag with, Harford, for instance. I mean, do you compromise yourself by playing Murphy in a position that you don't want to just to get Harford off the ball?
Well, you got to work out the respective values of each player, and they're both important players to each club. It's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Well, kick by Brad Scott, very ordinary.
Yeah, a bit smothered off the boot there, but look, Carlton have been winning it out of the centre over the last 5 minutes, 14 and a half minutes coming up to now, and Whitehead's had 6 touches already. We're not even at the 14 and a half minute mark.
Yeah, great start for him. Salmon beats Allen this time, but Ratton, O'Sullivan, outside half forward. Manton back into a congested pack. Ratton smothered. Luckily it spills to Whitnell, and Whitnell
Kicked it. What do you think, Dennis? He's certainly shown a bit at times this year, but as a young kid, you'd be... I just think one of his problems, Dermy, and I've spoken about this before, is his ability to turn. He seems to be getting on the straight leads rather than, turning players inside out.
Well, he's one-dimensional at the moment, but you see here that was very lucky because 5 seconds before he's kicked that goal, he was standing flat-footed 10 metres off the pack in a position you normally wouldn't receive. So, I mean, that's a fortunate goal, but that can make you create your own opportunities from there and give you a bit of confidence to move around the pack and be mobile when it's in that dispute area.
Well, the Blues up by 3 goals. The Hawks still looking for their first. Koutafidis works in tight. Intercept by Pritchard. Silvani playing in front. Helped by Sexton. Great kick, Sexton. Whitehead again. Yep.
Gee, they've been impenetrable down here, if there's such a word. I don't know how often they've gone inside 50.
Robran punches from behind. Comes to the front to Hogg. And Hogg was tackled high. It'll go back to him.
You see, when Carlton are going forward, Allen actually stays parallel to where the kicker is, so he draws Salmon away from the kicking zone because he's such a valuable asset to Hawthorn. One kick off the play.
Murphy with the sit. All Hawthorn at the back. Lord. Good chase by Murphy. Lekas hasn't found touch. McKay.
Well, still a fair kick by Lekas. To not spray away and put it over the boundary line on the full, but dribble it along there. It was always going to be tough to pick that one up.
Kapler and Stevenson getting off the bench. Darren Kapler named as an emergency, replacing Shane Crawford.
It's interesting, we saw Crummell last week. He was playing up forward. He did quite a good job. He gave them a few options. Then when he had to go back, they sort of lost a bit, Hawthorn. Now he's taking on Koutafidis, which will be a great challenge for him.
Hawthorn just don't seem to have the pace through the middle at the moment that will worry Carlton. Any team with genuine pace, foot speed, worries Carlton.
For 11. Crummell had a chance. Manton, 65 out. Hogg. Right up from defence, Hickmott. Good pass.
Now, I was just been watching this, Ned. Sorry to butt in, but Hawthorn are trying to get Harford back into play, so they moved him up the ground onto Whitehead, and as soon as that move was made, Whitehead went back deep into the forward area. So obviously the tactic there is to keep Harford on that last line. Harford lost his man here, and the resulting shot at goal.
Whitehead's been about the best on the ground so far, shooting for Carlton's 4th.
He's kicked it. I mean, it's interesting, Dennis. I'd be very interested in seeing what you have to say. I mean, these modern days of footy is that the players get moved around a hell of a lot. I sometimes think that can unsettle a side in regard to, especially when you're moving your backman up forward, you can lose your man in traffic and also knowing where you're at.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that, Craig. Look, I think the most important thing is to keep your focus for the football with the tactics of taking high-profile players back towards the last line of defence to get them out of the play. I think you just got to worry about getting the football and maybe even forget about your opponent for a couple of minutes.
Would it be worth Dennis starting Harford off the half-forward line for every bounce, but then throwing him into the centre once the bounce is affected?
Yeah, look, something like that, Dermot, I'm sure it'd work pretty well.
You should be a coach, Dermot. You are great.
Oh, shut up, Ned Cementhead.
Williams kick smothered by his own man there. Here he goes again, this time by hand. Robran punch back. Tallis to centre half forward. Punch down by Sexton from Holland. Bradley with pace to burn, Craig Bradley. Murphy.
Seem to be losing their feet a bit out there, Dermot. Was the ground a bit soft when you were out there?
It was a little bit. It didn't seem wet or anything, Craig. Sorry, Gary,
well,
but...
don't insult me.
Well, you know, same amount of hair up top. No, only serious. No, look, the ground was actually moist without being wet and soft, and I reckon the stops are just tearing through that initial 3 or 4 inches of surface at the moment.
Salmon wins the hit out. Sharked by Williams. Allen loses it in the tackle. Here's Whitehead again. Harford's gone onto him. Whitehead's one who has to be stopped at the moment. Chick. Holland and Sexton. And Michael Sexton's had a superb season.
Isn't their backline sensational? I mean, Sexton has been terrific, but all three of them now, Sauce and also Ange back, they're terrific.
Hawthorn barely finding the target at the moment. Only 17% of their kicks are actually hitting the mark.
Whitehead, O'Sullivan, Sexton, Hickmott. Kernahan on a long lead with Graham. Oh, he got it clipped round the face too, and a free kick to Sticks. And he said, "I got your number."
It was there, but it was a little bit lucky. Obviously, it wasn't intentional, but it's good to see Stevens moving very well, Dermot.
He is actually.
He's getting a lot of fitness back. Sauce is pushed all the way down here to full forward.
So Dunstall now at full back on Silvani, and the kick scores from Kernahan, just offline.
This will test Jace. He's going to have to push back now.
I think it's important now for Dunstall is to work twice as hard back to the goal square, because Sauce's aerobic capacity isn't fantastic, and if he's pushed back hard, perhaps the inclination to do it again might not be as great.
You see, it's mentally draining on the full forward too if the full back leads him back in the race, back the other way.
To 11, very few forwards now, Hawthorn.
The thing I'd like to see at centre-half forward, look, Nick Holland is a gun, but Sexton is tailor-made to beat him for the game Nick Holland has. I'd be tempted to move him somewhere else and put someone like Mark Graham, who can run off the line, not be a straight, like a one-dimensional type footballer at centre-half forward on Sexton. That might chop him up a bit.
Here's Justin Crawford at left half back for the Hawks. We've been going over 21 minutes and the Hawks are goalless. They've kicked just a point. Blues 4 goals 4. Excellent, Sexton.
See, Nick Holland does running straight lines when he's approaching the ball. He just relies on his spring and his height and the height he can grab the ball at, and that's tailor-made for Michael Sexton to combat. Whereas if you get someone like Graham who'll run off the line and swing around and lose him in traffic.
Pritchard breaking from centre half back. Hickmott couldn't take the mark.
They're shell-shocked at the moment, the Hawks. They've tackled hard, but they're just shell-shocked with the opposition.
If they win it here, they've got an open forward line. Holland, the hand pass over. Crawford. Salmon. Oh, disappointing disposal by the Fish. Lekas, a centering kick. Chick is there with Christou, but Ange beats him.
Oh, he's been rock solid. He's just a bit strong in the air in the marking contest at the moment, and they're going to get caught out in the rebound here. Big Fish is on the other side of the ground.
Yeah, Fish is 100 metres away from Allen. Manton running off Lawrence. Beautiful pass, Murphy.
Gee, Ned, they've got a few problems down there. Manton just seems to be too mobile for Lawrence, and a couple of kicks have fallen short of Justin Murphy in the last 3 or 4 minutes, but he's been open and free on at least 5 or 6 occasions, I reckon.
Just pose a question to Dennis there, sorry, in between that. Dunstall's lead then didn't really give any definite feeling for the ball carrier forward.
No, they've been under pressure all the way in Hawthorn. Every time their midfielders have got the ball, they've been under the pump. You look at the other end, it's open. Carlton are very effective on the long lead, and they've just kicked another.
Great finish by Murphy. That's his 7th possession, and they had 2 options there. Even Kernahan had got off his man. You'll see the kick here. Lovely kick from Manton, and Sticks was also free. So they have got some problems, although they're tall. If you can't get the ball to the ground, you're in trouble.
Chick coming off, and Crawford's already been taken off, and Condon coming on also. So obviously going for a bit of hardness and toughness up the forward line, and Condon will give them that.
Holland's come down to the forward pocket, and Cap was going to effectively play centre half forward against Christou. So they're obviously concerned about Sexton's dominance at the minute.
Hogg's kick up high. Whitnell, very clever for a youngster. In trouble, Graham. Kernahan, 35 metres out. Helped out of the 50 by Lekas. Salmon, to no one in particular. Just get the ball out. We'll do him at this stage. But Whitehead, who's been fantastic, keeps it in. Oh, he kicked that very high.
It's his 11th possession. He's just had the ball on a string in this first quarter.
It's a bad kick then, but you look at Sticks' ability. I mean, we've said it a number of occasions not to go too hard too early. He was just sort of hardly moving then, walking, giving himself still a little bit of space to work in.
Justin Crawford on the bench with 4 possessions. Salmon wins in ruck. But Ratton for the Blues. Whitehead again. Brought his own footy today. For 11. Oh, a fumble could be costly for Lekas. He recovers, finds Pritchard. Kapler the runner, off Christou. Hawthorn fans wanted a free kick. Dunstall gets the hand pass back. Half a good spin. They need this badly.
Hit the point. Gee, Dennis, sitting here at ground level, the most obvious thing here is Hawthorn are just under the pump every time they get their hands on the footy.
There's no doubt about that, Gary. They're waiting to be tackled.
Yep. just haven't got time to set up, and Dunstall, he hasn't even looked like getting on the end of a ball at the minute.
Good view behind the Blues as they work it out. And that's bang, bang, bang. Precision to the centre to Williams. And now Craig Bradley for a gallop. Murphy or Kernahan. Graham.
You could see Bradley trying to hook that ball around. He just couldn't get it around enough for Murphy.
Well, Nick Holland's floated up the ground here and made it to the half-back flank. He's got a bit of an open paddock, but he has got exactly nothing at all. He's got to go short or he's got to go back in.
Now he goes for Harford at centre half forward.
Kick.
Was a great kick, wasn't it? Harford plays on, and the Hawks are still looking for their first goal.
Well, the good sign there for Hawthorn is, well, the only sign is that Harford has just been too evasive for two Carlton tacklers on his last two possessions, and they've virtually had them mesmerised when he's had the ball. But gee, you need to finish off.
It's amazing, Hawthorn can't even get their zone into place. Carlton are just playing tricks with them at the moment here at the kickoffs.
Well, Manton stays down at the back of the pack, and he's going to get the overlap here.
And here's Manton getting it over the top. He's 65 metres out.
Still a wonderful forward line in terms of space to lead into.
Murphy should have taken the mark. Lord. Taylor overruns. Treleaven good. Holland left it. Hickmott. McKay. More trouble for the Hawks here. Koutafidis can't mark. Graham under pressure. Across to Salmon.
This is what they need to do. They need to try and chop up Carlton a little bit and just get them thinking.
Well, Scott was camped underneath it. Adam White did brilliantly.
You need to actually get Carlton thinking that they can't go in the same direction which they carried the ball in all the time. You need to chop them up and set them off their game, or the flow of the game. And but you need to, if you're going to change direction, the kicks have got to be good and weighted correctly.
Chick on the bench, suffering the wrath of the coach early. In from Ratton. Soccer kick. Is it out of bounds on the full?
Yep.
Yes.
That was stiff there by Mark Graham. He had the initiative to meet the ball, and well, he's actually got better in the last 5 minutes, I think, on Kernahan.
Well, Scott went in against Allen, but Allen's going to get a clear touch here. 52 metres out. He's a big fella. He puts plenty on it, but Salmon gets back.
One of the few times that Salmon has been able to get back. I mean, you mentioned before the space down there. It's just the fact that Salmon hasn't been able to get in and fill the holes.
Kick by Lord, short of centre wing. Off Condon it comes. Treleaven.
I tell you, without Pearce in the side, Murphy really gives you that bit of speed that Carlton have been missing when they've got Stephen Kernahan in the side, and yeah, he's dangerous. I mean, no one seemed to be able to get in and fill that space up like Gary was just saying.
They're just a much better side at the moment, Carlton, because, look, I'm just looking at the Hawthorn fellas there. The desperation's there. They're just being outplayed at the moment, outpointed. So, look, it's not as if they're having a go. Carlton are just by far the superior team.
And a 31-point lead.
Yeah, like I think Hawthorn are trying very hard, just showing the way all the way.
Anthony Condon moved into the centre for the second bounce.
And Salmon starts the Hawks off well by winning the hit out. Kapler. No room to move with Christou.
I saw Kapler get moved to centre-half forward last year. We see Williams sneaking off, and that's what it exactly is. He's sneaking off out of screen to centre-half forward. Tallis going back to pick him up now. But Kapler played centre-half forward a couple of years ago, last year, and actually moved around very well, picking up about 15 to 20 possessions there.
Ball straight up in the air. Oh, great stuff by Sexton.
He's a great backman, and look at Ange get out and loose by himself. He's dangerous.
Just in that instance, you think Anthony Condon, if he's on Ange Christou, has to react quicker. I mean, once the mark's taken, he has to try and recover to his man.
Yeah, he's still finding his feet, Gary. He's been out for so long with the knee injury.
Here's a kick by Williams to the top of the square. Manton!
See, it's not a good matchup, I don't think, Stephen Lawrence and Glenn Manton. He's got too much room to run into, and he's putting Stephen under a lot of pressure. It's
Absolutely, well, so obvious now, Dennis, that Carlton are transferring the ball very quickly, and exactly what Stevie Lawrence doesn't need as a, playing on Glenn Manton.
No, there's so much more space on the Carlton forward line, Dermot, and they're doing as they like at the minute.
Manton, he gets his second.
Yeah, well, there's a couple of worrying signs down here, and that is obviously one of them. And I guess the other one that, the move's just been made. Aaron Lord had Justin Murphy, which would have caused a few heart palpitations, I would imagine, amongst the Hawthorn people. And interestingly enough, now young Brad Scott comes over, who's probably won't be able to go with him in the air, but more accustomed to playing a tighter role.
They're setting up similar, aren't they, to how they do with Pearce?
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm not sure if that was the plan. It's just worked out that way, and he's found a lot of space.
Salmon gets it down again, but Williams cleverly out of the middle. Treleaven, leading possession winner for the Hawks in the first quarter, floats one to Lord. Aaron Lord, who once cut up Carlton in a final when he was playing for Geelong. Comes back to Dunstall, tries one off the ground. It might fall luckily for Kapler. Over the top, he's got Holland, but Kapler goes for the goal and gets it. The Hawks are on the board.
Another reason they miss him a lot is because his disposal is fantastic, his ability to know his way around goals. But it was interesting watching Sexton then. He got caught in between the two players, but still didn't rush at Kapler, because if he had that, they would have just thrown it over the top and then ran into an open goal. And you'll see here where he is sort of in between both the guys. There he goes there. And the trick here is actually to hold off like that, because at least they've got to have a snap at the goals.
I tell you one thing that I used to scream at blokes when they were attacking side of centre and they used to take a bounce. It meant that you as a forward probably led an extra 15 yards, which put you out of range, and that's what Aaron Lord did there, and it gave the Carlton defenders a chance to man up properly.
It's a poor old bounce, gave Salmon no hope of contesting, but he gets it back from Taylor. Treleaven, kick smothered beautifully by Allen. Clever little touch out wide by Leckis, but McKay.
Clever kick. Saw him out of the corner of the eye and just popped it straight onto his chest.
Murphy on a long lead. His opponent's gone to ground, and Murphy marks uncontested with Scott lamenting behind.
It's amazing, Drew, the amount of space in the corridor at the Carlton end of the ground. Players are just moving from one side to the other. When the ball comes in, it's open. They've got 20 yards, 30 yards to run into and just take it cleanly.
Well, the way they're setting up there, they've got the two men deep, and the two half forwards are actually totally in front of the points of the square.
He's missed that off to the left or right, as the viewers at home would be seeing. But yeah, look, what about boots, Dennis? Do you instruct your players on what boots to wear, or is that a decision they have to come to terms with?
No, I'm very strong on that. The moulded sole are out. There's a very thick cover of grass on this ground, and you just can't afford to fall over like Brad Scott did, then it just kills you.
Yeah.
Treleaven, another kick. Funny old bounce. Rhino tries to get it through the pack. Sliding in Hogg. Ratton. They did work hard in confined spaces then, the Blues. Salmon to Harford. Look out! White came from nowhere, and the Carlton fans in the social club stand, they want a free kick.
Daniel Harford there just indicating that a little bit of talk may have been beneficial. So as tends to happen when you get behind by a few goals, the talk does drop away a little bit.
6-5 to 1-3. A goal each in the second quarter. Williams clever. Hogg. Ratton. Cooter. Cooter for goal. Misses to the right.
The Carlton are playing very well. There's no doubt that the ability of your opponents has a fair indication on your own performance, and Hawthorn aren't slack, but I just think this is the hardest work rate I've seen Carlton perform at for the year.
He's looking from behind as Robrin's kick comes up towards centre wing. Chance for Pritchard. Taylor and Pritchard again. Treleaven, another kick. Crummell tried to back in there. Hogg quickly to McKay. Now Matty Allen. Whitehead's been quelled a little bit after an 11-possession first quarter. Lord to Treleaven. Just leather gathering Treleaven at the moment. Sexton a mark.
He is leather gathering, Drew, but his efficiency rate's down at 25%. So whilst he's getting the footy, he's probably not using it as well as they'd like.
Well, the difference is Sexton's had 100% effectiveness.
Here's a good find, Angelo Leckis, for Hawthorn. He's been around the club for 3 or 4 years, and they've let him develop in the old style, which Hawthorn have, well, nearly always done with their players. Can't afford those luxuries these days, but yeah, he's come on all right for them.
Well, it's amazing that Tucky played about 50 reserves games as well as the merest of 420-odd seniors.
Oh, go through them all. Paul Abbott's a 100-game player in the reserves, premiership player. Jimmy Morrissey's played over 100, I think.
McKay. Tackled by Woods. It comes back to Hogg. Put Ratton under the pump. Woods. Now Kaplan. Chance for Holland or Dunstall. Well done, Stephen Silvani. Hawthorn fans want to hold in the ball.
Yeah, it would have been a touch and go one there. You could understand if the umpire gave it away to Dunstall, the free kick, but I think the correct decision's found there.
Graham and Kernahan again are down here in this. Graham's come all the way down the forward line, so poor old Sticks had to follow him all the way down as well.
Harford. Still in.
There he is. Gee, they're pushing down hard, aren't they, Gary? You used to hate me doing that to you.
You never got close enough to me.
Here's trouble for Dunstall.
He's hurt his knee again.
It's the knee, I'm afraid.
Oh, no. Oh,
Graham's a bit more of a damaging threat than you, though, Ned, but that is...
This is a tragedy. This is an absolute... This could be, I don't want to be melodramatic, but this might be, if it's as bad as we think...
Look, I know Jason, having spent a lot of time with him, has got an amazingly high pain tolerance, and just seeing the grimace on his face there, something serious is wrong.
Is he, if the stretcher's not out, is the stretcher out there?
Are they signalling for it?
The game has to keep going, doesn't it? If the stretcher's not there, doesn't it keep going?
I think that is the truth there, Gary, but the one determining factor there is if he's in the field of play where the ball's going to be thrown in or bounced, I think you have to wait.
No, you're exactly right, Dermot. That's the case. If it's in the field of play and there's likelihood of someone else to be involved in it, gee, you know, you've got to stop it.
And this is tragic.
It's before. Yeah.
Yes, mate. It doesn't look good, does it? It wasn't an impact thing at all.
No, it was before the ball got to them.
Yeah, you've seen plenty of these over the years, and that just looks like one of the ligaments has snapped. I mean, that was very much like David Schwartz when he did his the second time.
Michael Long as well. I mean, that's almost what he did. He
hardly changed direction, and this is one of the real sad things in footy.
And where's the stretcher? I mean, they haven't been able to find anybody. Well, eventually there's one out on the ground now, but it's a good 5 minutes, you'd think.
Yeah, Sauce just nudging him under the ball there, and obviously placing putting a lot of stress and tensing that leg so hard, and then the movement breaking that tensity in the leg. It's obviously just given way then.
So it's interesting, Dermy. We were saying last week about the patella. That's where they normally take the graft from.
Yep.
That gets weakened, and Michael Long had the same thing. He was when he's running in to kick the ball, he just propped, and because it's weakened, that sort of sometimes can snap, and it's a crucial part of the front of the knee that holds it together. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's perhaps what has happened.
Well, let's not hope. Let's not be too melodramatic about it, but let's not hope that is the end, because he is nearing the end of a very long career, and if this is maybe a recurrence and another 12 months off, is this the last time we see Jason Dunstall?
You certainly hope not. I mean, goodness, how old is he, Derm, now?
He's a few days older than me, so he's 32, and he'll be turning 33 in a couple of months.
I suppose it's not, it's not beyond the realms for him to come back from another reconstruction, but gee, I mean, the mental barrier he has to get over, going through all the hard work again. I mean, could it be fate, 1,200 goals? He hasn't kicked one today. I mean...
finished spot on 1,200.
Yeah, look, it's
Stevenson's come on to replace him, and, well, tragedies are striking Hawthorn Footy Club throughout the last 7 days. It was very, very unfortunate.
We're surrounded by Carlton supporters here at the moment, and they're all clapping him off the ground. Now, I know it doesn't help at all, but, I mean, that's just the player he is, I guess. He transcends all types of support for football clubs.
Well, he made up his mind a long time ago. In season 1986, he got reported for 2 weeks once, and he made up his mind he was going to be strictly a ball player and do nothing but everything within the rules of the game, and people appreciate him for that.
You should have looked at that.
Maybe if I was out there, I might have clocked a few by now. We might have 3 or 4 on the board.
Well, this is an important time now for Hawthorn. I mean, you'd reckon that this would fire them up a bit. It might be just the impetus they need to get their act together.
Both teams had an on-field meeting while Dunstall was being seen to. And see what happens. Stevenson just on the ground to replace the skipper. Silvani tries to get it out of there. He and Sexton have worked beautifully.
Amazing. Kernahan still down here at full back for And Graham's now down
Well,
he
he needs to go now, Ned, doesn't
Yeah,
he?
he's
He needs to
take
run
off.
hard to get back down to this end, and then it's just a matter of wills. I mean, if he gets into a position where he can get the ball...
He's not going, though. He's going back to Graham, who's just dragging him out
It's
of
a
it.
good point there, Gary, because it is a matter of wills at the moment.
Exactly right. If he can get into a dangerous position, Carlton win the footy, well, they're in trouble.
And odds would say at the moment they'd be winning it.
What would you say here, Dennis?
Oh, look, I think of old Stephen Kernahan. You look at the scoreboard there, you're 5 up, 6 up. You'd want to get down and put the pressure on the Hawks. As soon as the ball comes down, if Mark Graham doesn't get on him, I know what Kenny Judge will be saying.
Yes.
Well, here's a 50-metre penalty, which is going to get the ball closer to Kernahan's area, and he's nowhere near it. Kick by White, in short to Hogg.
I bet you Hogg would look up now and say, where's Sticks?
Yes, free kick Blues way.
I don't know. What do you think, Dennis? I didn't think there was too much in it.
Well, I didn't think there was much in it myself. It's amazing how things go your way when, well, I thought it was Rattans. They're giving it to Williams.
Ratton's probably one of the real leaders out there. A lot of the guys talking to Mick McGuire, he potentially is the next captain of the club.
I think I called that here on Optus Sports AFL about 5 weeks ago, Ned.
Sorry.
So here's Greg Williams for goal. 48 metres out. Great distance. He's got there.
He is, I think we said early on in the program here, he needs very, very few opportunities to be a damaging player, and that's a very tough kick from that pocket with the breeze the way it is. And look, I think he knew exactly what he was going to do then, and the ball went exactly where he wanted it to go. So there's still life in the old dog yet.
Well, Simon Beaumont's come onto the ground, and guys, with 12 or 13 possessions on the board, Adrian Whitehead's been taken and plonked straight on the boundary.
Gee, in replay, there didn't look to be too much in that free kick again.
No, well, yes, they've got a bit of work to do, the Hawks.
Yes, danger time. 7-6 to 1 goal 3. Condon. And Tallis breaks away from Williams. Holland. He's got to become the full forward now.
You see that, though, that's a very telling situation, though, because he hasn't got the confidence to outreach Sexton. When you put 2 hands up, you don't reach as high as just one. And his initial touch there, he's put 1 hand up to try and get the ball at its highest point and do like a wet weather mark, bring it down in front of him just to make sure that he got first contact on the ball. So obviously the confidence in the back of his mind, he's thinking Sexton's going to be able to punch the ball from behind quite frequently.
Just seeing his stats here, doing a bit different to this time last week where he's absolutely flying, but he's still got the ball, which is the main thing.
Yep. That's not
quite there.
And he struggles a bit over that distance. I mean, that's one of the great factors of having 2 forwards like two Rocker brothers. They can kick side out 55.
So Stevenson being picked up by Silvani. Has Stevenson gone straight to full forward, Dan?
He's actually gone down to the forward pocket, yes, and been told to run around Ange Crystal.
Here's Williams with great hands. Sexton up from centre half back. Kernahan in his rightful spot.
He's deceptive, Mark Graham. I mean, we've seen Hawthorn on a few occasions, Dennis, and he can play on a talk.
Oh, he's an amazing player, Mark. You know, you're talking about that position before where he took Stephen down the ground. He kicked 2 goals against Peter Sumich the other week over in Western Australia, and maybe they're looking for something like that again.
Well done, White. Manton to Williams. Well, for once, one of his kicks doesn't go straight to a teammate. Popped up. Hogg. Manton has been good. Harford crunched over the line. Beaumont just on the ground, keen to get in the action.
He's had a bit of the footy, Greg Williams, and even though he's underdone Anthony Condon, I'd like to see Condon on him just to try and unsettle him, because if Williams got his number taken, he'd have to be thinking about the 9 hanging over him and maybe his number taken out. It'd put him right off his game to the end of the game.
Here's Brett Ratton with a snap across the goal square. Kernahan up.
Another good contest from Graham. But I think that's a very good point, Dermot. You'd have to have some of those doubts, and he's shown in the past that perhaps he can get a little bit got at, so maybe it's a time for a bit of physical pressure on him.
The kick in. So would you sacrifice a Hawthorn bloke to go in there and at the risk of getting into a bit of a stoush, put Williams off his game?
Oh, put a stoush on him. You'd sacrifice the fact that you'd give him a couple of $1,000 fine if he wrestled him, and just to get Williams on the report book, even for a wrestle, would unsettle him.
It's interesting from one of the most experienced men at the tribunal. Thanks, Doom. McKay And the Blues go forward again. Beaumont spinning out of trouble. Kudafiti's on the left boot. Goal.
Yeah, good goal there.
It was an amazing kick by young Whitnell to Kudafiti's. I think it was a drop kick from where I was sitting, and Kuda, beautiful left footer.
And the news coming up from the bench at Hawthorn is that Barry Gavin has confirmed that Jason Dunstall has injured that same knee, and it is the same injury. So just to the extent of it, we don't know at the moment.
I think you're right, Dennis. I think that might have been a drop kick.
So
the return of the droppy.
Silvani's now picking up Stevenson, so that's an interesting matchup, and Sexton's gone back to Holland. Holland's playing full forward now.
Well, Stevenson would want to take Sauce away from the position he's most comfortable, and that is in the goal square. He's just got to run him round now and try and find some space.
McKay. The Blues 55 to 10. They might be getting a percentage booster against the Hawks, which is pretty important. These two teams in the middle of the pack on the premiership ladder. Back to Ratton. Oh, he's given that straight up, and Salmon marks.
The unfortunate thing for Hawthorn is at the moment, even though it could be a percentage booster, I just can't see Hawthorn kicking, 2 or 3 more goals the way they're going in the remainder of the game.
I think there will be some changes. It's amazing. Sides don't usually keep this sort of pressure up all day, Dermot. And I wouldn't be surprised late in the game if Hawthorn get a bit of a roll and kick 3 or 4 quick goals. I reckon Carlton will sort of, the way they've gone, it's hard to maintain this pressure over 4 quarters.
Sexton's pushing down, isn't he, Gary? He's pushed all the way down there to forward line.
Yeah, look, I'll just watch this bit of play.
Oh, right in front, mark taken by Hickmott.
See, they just, once they get in there and you get a clear run at the footy like that, Darren Pritchard, an experienced campaigner, would be disappointed that he let young Hickmott have a free run and a free jump at that footy. But what did you say earlier, Ned? I forgot.
Sexton had pushed all the way down. They're working very hard off the half-back line.
There's no doubt about that.
This is the look from behind Hickmott.
Yes.
Straight through the middle, Hickmott, come down and mark off the half-back flank, made no mistake.
It's a situation, isn't it, where you get that much confidence that you just want to join in the fest. So you run forward harder than you do when the game's in the balance. And yet it's one of those attributes to a game which wins games, but you're more inclined to do it when your team's on top.
Savani he's gone up around. He looks like he's playing the wing, although he's playing on the half-back flank. And I think last time we said it would get Geelong, he'd struggle up there a little bit, but he did have asthma that day, so he might find a different sauce today.
It was about 20 degrees warmer as well.
Yeah.
Didn't he have his asthma pump in his sock?
145 possessions to 90.
Well, that's very telling.
Ratton make it 146. Inside half forward. Kernahan 45 metres from goal. It bends back. Oh, so close. Hit the post.
Great attempt from about 40 metres around the body, but some very, very good body work there from Lance Whitnell. For a young fellow in his first season of AFL footy, just showed a bit of nous there, Dermot.
He's got very well developed physique through the torso for a young man, isn't he?
Indeed he has. Flaming redhead like yourself.
Yeah, I was as skinny as a whippet at that age.
Juggler by Salmon. Plays on to Trelevin through the cricket pitch area. Here's Holland with Sexton. He played for the free kick and didn't get it. Hogg going for the line. There's Hickmott who kicked the last goal. Sexton might have been leg play on. Stevenson did well to arrow the ball out. Woods. Harford to Stevenson.
It's a good kick, Steve-O.
And that's a good one.
You just look at that contest there where Nick Holland, once again, the confidence is down because Sexton's done such a good job, and he opted for, overemphasising the push in the back on the contest there. And even after that, Sexton went to the contest and Nick Holland sat out the back of the contest. So Sexton's had a second-up effort and Nick Holland sat out the back of it rather than working doubly hard because he's getting beaten in the air. He sat out there and hoping for one of his teammates to win the ball and put it out to him. It didn't eventuate.
Could have been a better kick, though, Dermot.
It could have, but the kick was under pressure, and every kick into the Hawthorn forward line, I'd suggest this afternoon is going to have a fair bit of pressure.
Steve Lawrence has just gone off and Chick just come on to Manton.
Well done, Dennis. You've beat me to it. Hawks out of the middle. Christou. Salmon getting there with Allen behind.
See, that situation, I mean, if you're behind, Salmon should really drop the shoulder and put one through there.
Yeah, look, it was essentially he made some sort of body contact, wasn't it? I mean,
none was made.
Now Kernahan, he's kicked 3 behind so far, and he's at last kicked a goal.
I tell you what, it would be one of the worst kicks at goal I've ever seen. And it's wobbled through, get the house on Carlton.
How does he do it?
Right. Why would a bloke like that, Dennis, who has had trouble over a long period of time, he still can't seem to get it to spin right?
It was amazing. The leads ran across the front of the goal face. The goal square was vacant. I think Stephen just hurried his kick a little bit, and he dropped it crookedly onto his instep, but it still went through.
That's a bit of a set player there, though, to get the goal square free and everyone to come up the ground.
There is when Sticks is kicking, if he's going to kick like that.
That's 725 goals. How many perfect spinning drop punts, Gary?
Yeah, no.
About 4. You see that? I just looked at his kicking action there. He actually does a little bit of the old Malcolm Blight, lift it, raise it very high. And when he does do that, he takes his right hand away from it a little bit early, and the top of the ball just tilts outwards, and that's the way the ball spins from then on. It goes to the foot in directly that position. Amazing for a bloke of his experience.
Look at the players around this. Well done, Taylor. Treleaven, 50 metres out. Goal!
Great running goal, Drew, and he's pushed through to get to 40, 45, 50 metres around the back of the square in this ground, and most times he can put it through, and it was a beautiful kick.
Braden Tallis coming off. Crawford going back on once again.
Hawthorn's kick efficiency is down 41% at the moment compared to Carlton's at 65, so they just need to be able to maintain possession a little bit more, and you think just a little hint that perhaps they're starting to win more of the footy through the middle, and I think Salmon's starting to have a little bit more of an influence.
Tallis off the ground. He's been off Greg Williams for about the last 5 minutes, and Diesel's new opponent is Aaron Lord. Allen. There's Lord, but couldn't get boot to ball. Beaumont a hand pass out, knocked down by Treleaven, who kicked that last goal. Here's Lord. Bit of basketball being played. Stevenson did well on Silvani. Hogg to Bradley. High ball, Lekas.
Well done by Lekas there, able to keep his eye focused on the ball when the Carlton player ran through at him and brought the ball to ground, and really could have very easily gone Carlton's way then.
As time wears on, maybe Salmon may be a problem. He's had 20 out of 31 hit-outs, so he's dominating the ruck hit-outs.
Yes, well, can he last? Because he has wilted a couple of times recently towards the end. Of course, the Hawks had a big fade-out here last weekend against the Bulldogs. Crawford just back on.
Good to see the 23 in action out there.
Yes.
Bad kick. Oh, standard kick for 23s. Craig Kelly included.
It's interesting, Salmon sneaking down. We said a few weeks ago how he sneaks into the forward line, and he was doing it again then as Gary was talking about him.
Beaumont's kick towards centre wing. Well, Hawks didn't manage a goal in the first quarter. At least they've managed 3-1 in this term, but the Blues have added 5 goals for themselves.
Peter Dean on for Lance Whitnell.
There's Williams. He loves it in the clinches. Robran good. Lord.
So that's just basic footy. If you get sucked towards the pack, drawn towards it, and you leave your man out behind you with plenty of room to sum up the position of the ball, they're in the box seat.
Koutafidis, haven't seen much of his high leaping today. Manton's been good. Crunched to the floor this time. McKay. Manton again. Beaumont on the run. Well done, Treleaven. Williams a bit of a juggle. Then gets the footy. 30 metres out. Taylor goes to ground. Condon. Well, he had good vision then. Holland's gone way back to half-back. There's nobody forward of, well, inside half-forward for the Hawks. They're streaming up there now. Holland carrying the ball.
Bradley won't go at him because he knows the handball will go over the top to his man.
Crawford goes to the square.
Got to go to Crummell.
And Crummell.
Yeah, well done.
Is Dennis a correct decision there to run with the footy, do you think?
No, I would have used Kepler on the way through. you live or die by the sword, and he was lucky that time, I think, Nick, and it's come off, and fortune favours the brave in football.
I actually thought Dennis Kapler was on straight away for the kick when he gathered it at half-back.
Oh, there was no doubt from where I was sitting, Dermot. I thought he could have got it over to Kapler. He would have been clear. And if the kick had been a reasonable kick, he would have ran and had a shot for goal, I reckon.
Once you make the decision to run down and bounce, though, you've got to make sure you find someone, and luckily it just fell into his Crummel's hands a little bit. Then he's kicked the goal. But they're getting on top a little bit more now.
Yeah, they're getting back, well, about back in the game. They're still 40 points behind, but they're winning their fair share of the footy. And just off the ball, there's been a little bit going on down the back half here, boys. Peter Dean's come on, and not too happy with Anthony Condon just at the moment. So
Condo can look after himself. And in actual fact, although some players don't do a heap of nasty things out on the ground, it's pretty well documented. Condon's very good at looking after himself in the... around the club when they put the gloves on, so nothing would affect him too greatly.
Watch that one with interest in. It might develop, I reckon.
I would love to see him right in the centre, because he'd probably be my second or third choice centreman I've played with at Hawthorn over all the time.
The whistle's gone from the umpire way off the play. It wasn't the umpire in charge of proceedings. He saw a holding the man decision and is going to Bradley. The umpire ruled that from about 45 metres away.
Murphy and Kernahan would have to be the target. Probably go for Murphy more so, wouldn't you?
Well, I think in this pack situation, you probably look for Kernahan to stand under it and Murphy to run at it like that.
Almost a good catch. Half it hurriedly out of there. Blues have the numbers. Tap by White was good. McKay, Williams, Hickmott, and at centre half forward Allen. Nobody on the mark. Couple of steps. Long shot for goal offline.
Pretty ordinary effort to smother there, I thought, by the Hawthorn defenders. Perhaps they were just a little bit concerned that he might try and step around them if they fully committed themselves to a smother.
Doesn't Diesel create a lot of options for them on this ground? He just loves playing here.
I reckon you're a real chance every week now to get Diesel in if you are playing Carlton.
Now, Dennis Pagan, we're watching this view from behind. How do you like that view of the game from behind the goals?
It's terrific up this end of the ground, Drew. You don't see as much down the other end as though.
There's Cooter. Just got the ball out. Crowd wanting holding the ball. The umpire's going to ball it up.
Not just because Carlton had the ball then, but that old run of when you're on the deck and you furiously punch the ball several times. I can't get rid of it. I can't get rid of it. The umpies still fall for it. And Hawthorn players do it too. Don't worry about that. But oh yeah.
And eventually they got it out of there. Silvani.
Too strong.
Would you have had a bet on Silvani winning that one?
They've just got to be smart there, don't they? They just cannot kick in the air to a contest with Stephen Silvani and young Crawford.
And that's
Brewster's kick to Kernahan. Good punch, Graham. Williams just gets the hand pass away, but made it tough for Bradley. Sexton drifting forward. Williams just took it off them. Greg Williams. He says, I'll go for goal myself, but there's a goal post down there in brown and gold. Paul Salmon.
For a bloke that's too fat, too old and too slow, he doesn't get caught too often, does he?
No. Kick by Chick. Now Lord. He's a long way from Williams. Holland. Lord again. Now Graham's come right up the ground.
That handball from Lord outside to Holland running on his left foot wasn't a real good choice.
What a chase by Andy McKay. Condon, Robrin. The Blues putting the pressure on and they win the ball. Off the ground, Hickmott. Bradley.
Andy McKay's fantastic. We saw the Carlton-Collingwood game. I was at that one and he ran down Paul Williams. His explosive pace is sensational.
Just gets frustrating when you see someone like Nick Holland there. Could really have put another one again, put a bit of body contact into the forthcoming Carlton player.
Good smother by Treleaven. Woods, not
good
tackled
tackle.
high.
Nah, good tackle. What happened there? You got him around the middle of the chest and you just shrugged his shoulders and the tackle slips up. So, yeah, good play there. Good umpiring, and I thought it was a very good attempt to tackle.
Allen's down here in the back line all by himself, so obviously Salmon hasn't pushed down and he's just a loose man in defence.
Yeah, I think he's looked at the clock, saw 30 minutes and said, well, I'm just going to sit down here and make sure they don't get another one.
Lord, support by Treleaven, but he had it spent. Treleaven gets it back from Lord. Holland.
Now, that was a real show if that kick had been good for Hawthorn to have a shot on goals. skill error there that's cost the Hawks.
Beaumont for the Blues. Kudafides, a half volley. And down behind plays is
Daniel
Harford.
Harford.
Oh.
Yep.
Looks like an ankle or something. He sort of rolled it as he tackled Ratton.
Well, he'd be leading their best and fairest, you'd reckon, but at this stage, so they've already lost their skipper. Could be a disastrous day for the Hawks.
Well, they were not allowed to bet on Brownlows either, Drew, but if I was to have a bet, there's my investment. But he's away.
He's shrugged off Barry Gavin, and he's gone for a sprint into the action. Here he goes with the tackle on Sexton, and he's turned the ball over. Well done, Harford. Crawford's kick. Christou.
That's Ange's 11th possession. He hasn't made a mistake. Him and Sexton have been fantastic in the half-back line.
Well, there's the siren. A quarter in which the Hawks made a game of it, but the Blues still outscored them 5-4 and hold a comfortable lead at half-time after blitzing the Hawks in the first quarter.
Well, there's no doubt that Hawthorn are being outpointed in this game, but look, the 6 goals, 5 behind, but they should be probably less. They're just shooting themselves in the foot.
More to the point, Blues.
Salmon got his hand to it in the middle, but Ratton got the hand pass a bit high. Well, Lawrence used his body again and hurt Beaumont.
Well, you don't want to fire him up because he is an enormous man. He's gangly, and he's one of these blokes with pointy elbows. He doesn't mean to use them, but he can seriously hurt blokes. So he hurts more of his teammates at training than opposition players during a match. But should he turn the tables, could be disastrous for Carlton.
Well, Sexton dropped the mark. Cromwell goes off the ground.
Beaumont is certainly hurting now. He just went in hip and shoulder. Looked like he got one in the ribs.
I reckon he got that right on the kidney area, Beaumont.
Well, there's a sixth sense between the two bosom buddies, Christou and Kudafides.
But good early signs for the Hawks. Bit of muscle being shown. Pritchard.
They've got numbers out on the wing at the moment. Whether they've got numbers at centre half forward.
Lord to Woods. Oh, he poked it up very high and said, mark that, Nick Holland. Off hands to Ratton. Beautifully played. White. Beaumont's recovered. Kernahan in the middle of the ground. Off to Craig Bradley. Murphy. Good pick up on the half volley. Now Manton, who's kicked 2. Straightens for goal.
Too easy.
Well, you said they were coming out fired up. I mean, that was just like Derby called it, too easy. And even when Murphy was going for the lead, Scott was on him. Murphy just did a little half-dummy lead and didn't even sort of feel like he wanted... Scott didn't look like he wanted to go with him, just sort of hung back a bit and gave him a bit of time to get it around sticks. And Bradley should have really hit him with that kick. Normally he would have.
You see Murphy bends his lead there at the end too. He led straight at Bradley and then curved inward, so Bradley had to kick it on the left foot, which obviously put the kick off a little bit. Bradley wasn't equal to the task on that occasion to hit him on the chest, but it certainly did lose his opponent, Scott.
Yeah, but one of the crucial plays was back here when Hawthorn went forward. They went right across the ground and just opened up the rest of the field rather than really attacking the goal front.
As Dennis mentioned early on during the game, it was low percentage.
Aaron Lord says, give it to me, I'll take it out of here. Well played. Over Holland it goes. Christou. Sexton lost it. Crawford.
Got it.
They were very happy to get Justin Crawford at the start of the year. They thought with the draft choices that they had, they didn't think there was any quality in the draft, so to speak, that was better than the option of getting Justin Crawford down to Hawthorn to partner Shane. And they thought partnering that also was that Shane Crawford could be poached in years to come, so getting his brother to the same club might be an option to keep him there. So he served the double purpose in terms of getting him on a draft, and he does have some good finishing ability, Crawford. He just needs to get the ball a bit more.
Well, the Blues got the first goal, but the Hawks were quick to answer. Harford knocks the ball down to Pritchard. Lawrence caught behind, using body on Silvani, giving away the free.
Could see right behind goals here. You could see that all the way along there was a free kick there.
Very hard to move off the ball once he sets himself with those bandy legs, old sauce.
Full-back of the century, Steve Silvani. Oh, Sexton dropped an easy mark. Taylor.
That's a good kick if the weight's right.
Yeah, look, often times these Hawthorn players have been leading back towards goal, which, if it's a tactic, it's not a bad one. It's just got to, as you said, they've got to get the kick right.
Oh, Cromwell led towards the goal square. Crawford didn't give it off.
Yeah, you really need to punish Koutafidis if he doesn't go back on his man that hard sometimes, and you need to punish him to try and take, because he's so good going Carlton's way, you've got to get him thinking twice about manning up. Pulled that a bit, I think.
Either the mark or out of bounds on the full, same difference. Allen. 11-9 to 5 goals for. Just over 4 minutes gone in the third quarter.
They definitely have to kick down the line here, Dennis.
Well, I think they made an adjustment to that rule earlier in the year, and I was under the impression you could go the other way as long as you signal to the umpire you were going to do it.
Yeah, you've got to edge around and actually move around a bit, Dennis, and actually put the man on the mark between you and the target.
That's probably right. That's right, David.
All in all, tackled by Hawthorn.
What about the statistic I'm just looking at the moment? Carlton have had 10 free kicks to Hawthorn's 1. I don't think it's biased umpiring. It's just the way it's worked out. It's an amazing statistic.
Was that one free kick for the game?
Yep. 25 tackles Hawthorn and only 1 free kick.
Ball smothered and the Hawks keeping it in the forward area. Taylor. Hogg.
Well, talking about stats, Dermy, Carlton have had 39 marks to Hawthorn's 25, and obviously the big men are sort of taking some good grabs too.
Yeah, the ones that count to Sexton on Holland. Nick, it'd be great if Nick could stand up and make a real good contest, a one-on-one grab in front of Michael.
You can really notice a renewed vigour by the Hawks out here. You know, their work rate has really lifted. They're really having a go, and you have to admire them for this.
This is all about 30 metres out from goal, but they can't get a kick in.
Dennis, when you come to a game like this,
It's a free kick.
Oh.
Yeah, Sauce. I think
what's that
Stevie
for?
Lawrence has upset him a bit, and Sauce is feeling quite invigorated, as Dennis
a
used
good
that
bump.
word. But not after the umpy's blown the whistle for a ball up, though, Craig.
Oh, okay. How'd you let her do that?
That was always a chance against you to say something to you after the umpy blew the whistle.
I never. Dennis, you never thought you could suck me in, did you?
Only on occasions.
A very important kick here for big Stevie Lawrence now. They can...
He's not a good kick either. Let's hope you can do it for Steve. He's a lovely bloke, Steve. Bit of confidence for him.
You've missed it, Dermot. You have called it correctly. That's a bad miss from 30 metres. I mean, really should have converted then.
Just reliving some of the memories with Craig Kelly sucking him in. And hearing that grin. And then led after by, oh, you're kidding, umpire.
McKay at half-back. Good mark overhead. Space up the middle corridor. Hickmott. Now towards the outer side to Williams. Lord closes the gap. Once he got there, probably should have taken the mark.
Diesel was there for ages by himself.
Well done there by Scott to move his opponent Murphy out of the fall of the ball, so his
Stevenson.
teammate could catch it.
Good mark by Shane Stevenson, who came on to replace Dunstall. Long kick to the forward line. Well, Carlton with all the height.
Keep your feet there.
Yeah, Crawford more concerned about the man than going for the footy. He's tried to make some body contact with Christo and forgot about watching the flight of the footy.
Dennis, I was going to ask before, what do you look for when you come to these games? Matchups or just their set plays?
Well, I think the key to success is doing the basic things well over and over again. I think we get carried away with the set plays and that sort of thing. Sure, with the kick-ins and that, and there are a few opportunities to do things, but gee, your attack on the ball is the most important thing.
There's a Carlton free kick now, advantage. Silvani, 20-metre hand pass to Hogg. But Salmon chasing.
Well
good
done.
chase. Williams drops it in the middle. Pritchard.
He's got some men on here.
Don't expect much more from Fish for a few minutes, but that was just a fantastic chase down here. Could result in a goal.
Treleven's kick. Holland had a bit of a... Crawford had a bit of a slip.
Dennis.
It was amazing then. Stevie Lawrence copped the rebound one in the stomach there, and the umpire didn't see it.
He did too.
Yes.
I don't think Collar will call that up on his old mate during the week.
It was only a very soft one. It certainly wasn't reportable.
Nah.
Kicked by White over centre wing. Bradley, couple of steps to go off. 8.5 minutes in the third quarter. 75-35. The Blues by 40 points. Well, they'd led by 31 at quarter time. Beaumont has it spoiled. It comes to Kuta. Threads it through, but misses.
No, he's missed it. And Sticks probably could have led the other way then. Again, the flow of the play, we've said it over a number of weeks. Ball coming in one way, everyone goes to that area where the ball's coming to, and the space was opposite side.
All the Hawthorn players are going to the outside of the ground. There's only one player on this side.
Yeah, the ball pushed to one side, Doomy. Good call. Bad kick.
Yeah,
They haven't done that well. I mean, we said pre-season a number of occasions their kick-ins were great. I mean, you're calling switch of plays and everything else, but at the moment they're struggling with that.
That was about a 40-metre kick. That's about all by Graham. Lekis.
Dennis, that must be a crucial time, though, when you've got control of the ball to set something up.
Diesel off.
Look, there are opportunities to do it, Craig, but I think there are so many unpredictable things that can happen. And, look, Collingwood and Carlton are very good at their kick-ins. We practice it a lot. There are some set things that you can do, but you can forget about the basics when you're trying to look for tricks all the time.
Yeah.
Well, the free kicks just continue to go Carlton's way. 13-2. Kernahan.
I tell you, if this guy can keep on, I mean, everyone says he's going to retire soon, but he just floated across beautifully there, created space for himself. Old heads go a long way, don't they, Doomy?
Absolutely, and Hawthorn really do need to get the extra man down into the goal square here, because it's highly likely that the kick mightn't spin all that well. Well, that looks all right to spin.
He's pulled it.
You love Sticks, don't you, Ned?
Oh, mate, I do. I played on him one of the first games. He kicked 8 on me.
Oh, that's great. It's lovely to see you showing that affection.
Ned, you could name a whole team of blokes that have kicked 8 on you.
Had fun, though.
Here's Graham, straight up the ground to half it.
That's that kick early on I was talking about. It's risky, but haven't made the most of it now.
Chick to centre wing. Crawford needed to be good then, outnumbered 2-1. Nobody at half forward. Silvani gets back. Well played. Dean Hickmott.
Great support there. Great running from Peter Dean.
Pritchard with the sit. Taylor. Crummell. On his own is Holland.
Well, that's Nick Holland's go. You hear stories about his legendary work rate at training. He's a super fit athlete. He actually trailed in Sexton to the contest on the other side of the ground, but pushed extra hard to get across here, and he led him to the ball then by 10 metres. So he needs to convert this to get a bit of confidence.
Yep. Importance of a punch there. Turn the ball around and back Hawthorn's way.
Yeah, just good, solid, smart play by Pritchard on the wing.
Holland
just snuck in behind.
Gee, that's 3 behinds to Nick Holland.
He had a terrible approach running into the kick. I think he kicked off 2 steps. There wasn't any fluency at all in his run-up.
Well, Holland and Kernahan between them have kicked 1-7.
Oh,
Christo just.
I don't want to inflame the boot debate, but if Steve Silvani's boots are Adidas, I'll go he.
Don't start that.
Oh, sorry, is he a pro squatter?
Yes.
White, good mark. Beaumont. Koutafidis. Half volley, didn't pay the mark. Blazers, and Graham gets back there. Oh, he's dropped it. Gives Kernahan a chance. And Sticks. Oh, that's lucky. Beaumont right in front.
Great centre.
Well, Graham, like you called earlier, Drew, he'd spend it before he got the money, and he had that sitting in his arms and then dropped it, and Sticks. He's moving a lot better than he was 2 weeks ago, and really created something out of nothing.
So Beaumont to further bury the Hawks.
Look, Mark Graham's fought his way back into that battle, and I think he's a terrific kid with a great attitude to the game, but I just get the feeling sometimes when things go against him and the team and he feels overwhelmed that his work rate becomes an acceptance level. And I just hope on this occasion, after making well, not a bad blue, but just a skill error, letting the ball drop out of his hands when he probably should have marked it, it'd be good to see him absolutely grit his teeth and say, well, that's the last error I'll make like that for the day, rather than just getting into an acceptance phase.
83-36. Carlton well in charge. Bradley, as he does best. White couldn't quite take the mark. Graham off the ground.
Well done.
A drop punt from a soccer kick about 40 metres. Ratton's kick to Kernahan. Graham a good punch. Whitehead, who started the game so well.
Yeah, well done by Mark Graham there. Twice he actually left Kernahan to meet the ball. A bit iffy then. I thought he could have quite easily had justification to say, well, that's the way the day's going. But he backed himself to come in. He's going for the kick out now. We'll find his target in Leckis.
It's important for backmen to be able to do that, so just get out and help each other.
Leckis, much penetration with a kick, just very high in the air. Another Carlton free kick. Bradley, inside 50. Manton can't mark. Runners needed. Crummel for the Hawks. Lord. Greg Williams off the ground. And Jason Dunstall, unfortunately, a recurrence of the knee injury. We won't see any more of him, certainly for the day, maybe for the season. Who knows, maybe forever.
Cooter almost put one into the back of the net there for Aston Villa off the head.
Scott, been very quiet today. Condon, Crawford, back to Scott. The hand pass didn't reach him, and he didn't really attack the ball either.
Yeah, terrible handball though. It made Scott stand flat-footed. The ball hit the ground before it really had to be pinpointed because, well, his opponent was just bearing down on him.
Dennis, if you play Carlton, do you look to try and divide their defence?
Well, certainly one of the tactics that a lot of clubs have tried on. They've got an enormous defence to isolate your forwards and the defenders. They overlap and back each other up very well. And the way they use Optus Oval is superb. The way they always have someone running behind, someone at the back to back up all the time. And they've done it time and time against today.
Sullivan's kick.
Well, that was a free kick there to Chick being held. But
Well, why don't they pay those, Dermot? I mean,
just
both
not-
umpires are right in front of that ball then.
Just not paying frees to Hawthorn today.
they're getting a bit of a rough deal, but not overly above the normal run of the game. Good mark, Robert.
Teeny made him earn it.
14-2 the free kicks.
Now here's Graham's on here because Kernahan's had to go on to it's Paul Salmon.
Well, they have got the overlap working here. His Lord finds himself in some space, but Shane Stevenson took his man straight to Aaron Lord then, and instead of nicking off and giving him a bit of room. That's a technical term for running away.
Nicking off.
Nicking off.
Here's Taylor through the middle. Holland. Well done, Christou. It was worth an oof.
See, yeah, big build-up, and then just to set the ball up like that, bread and butter for a defender to run and jump and punch.
Now Murphy coming along the outside there. Is he playing down back now?
Quite sure. I think he might have just followed that play all the way down then, Dermot. I've just watched that one.
Nobody inside half forward for the Blues. Christou. They're all milling around in midfield. There are 36 players in the middle third of the ground.
Dean's gone up and Robin's by himself, so Robin's got to get himself in a position where he can, which he hasn't done, where he can get the contest.
Wants a mark by Kudo. Well, he's got the ground level players in support. Ratton goes wide, Whitehead marks. Probably find Kernahan just lope onto this one near the
He
goal.
can play on from there.
Here's Ratton to Kernahan. Kick a bit too high. Hickmott has already come up for the goal earlier. Sweeping hand pass across. Lord. Chick still at half back. Scott.
Handful of jumping there. They just won't pay them, will they?
Trelevin's kick out of bounds, so it'll be another free to come.
You get the feeling that the Hawthorn, all but their last full forward line, are all pushing up and squeezing this game up just so that Carlton can't get a big run on. And if they are going to go down, they're not going to go down by too much.
Good chase by Holland to lay the tackle. Silvani did well with Sexton. Pass Koutafidis it goes. Dean might give it back to him. Peter Dean. Oh, well played.
Great.
Yeah, good kick.
I mean, he's, again, an old head there, just kept padding along in front of him, didn't go to ground,
Well,
and then just flicked around the corner.
Also, I mean, he had the run onto the ball, but just very wise as to his own pace, or really the lack thereof. So he just veered wide to shake his tail and been Robrin, and just a little chip around the corner to Kerners, who kicks true to form.
Missed again, 1-5.
He's always said that his most disappointing thing he believes in his game is his ability to convert, and today he's struggling a little bit.
Shake his tail. Was that the Ray Charles song?
Yeah.
Shake your tail feather?
Tail tagger. Yeah. He's got a few grabs, Salmon, but I don't think many of them have been in the pack situation. A lot of them have been from kick-outs or the crisscross in play. He's taken a few on the last line, 2 or 3 where the kicks have fallen short. He's got 7 marks, but it would be good if you could take a few right in the thick of the stuff.
Can be deceptive, those statistics. I mean,
True.
the man that sits in the pocket on the kick out and gets those 8 kicks for 8 marks. I mean, that's just you're lucky to be there. I reckon.
Yep.
Allen's kick to centre half forward. Crummell couldn't take the mark. Oh, it's eventually Graham to Crummell. Half at a good mark. Lord. And Salmon waited and Dean beat him. Koutafidis.
Manton's on here, but well done, Graham. Great work.
Manton didn't get first touch, did he?
That was really, I mean, Manton went behind Kernahan Graham left him, left Kernahan and went to Manton, which was great, but unfortunately just didn't get his hands on this ball. Should have perhaps Dermy gone for his arms then rather than the ball, which Gary Pert used to get furious with me because I never used to do that.
Always go to the ball, hey?
87% effectiveness, he's been fantastic. 15 possessions and 7 marks.
I tell you what, when I was out in the ground before the game, he's a lot bigger bloke than I thought, Glenn Manton.
This is his 4th goal.
Just pushed it a bit to the right-hand side.
Stevie Lawrence is off the ground. He's given away a few free kicks this quarter. Gave him a bit of vigour up there, and but they thought he's given away perhaps 1 or 2 too many. So we've got Darren Capella back on at centre half forward now. He's been picked up by Hickmott, and Silvani has gone over onto Condon.
Now let's watch the Hawks as they bring it out. Lord to Treleaven. Well, still inside the defensive 50, and still that's about 5 possessions. Eventually Chick. Harford near centre wing. Lord. Salmon on his own at centre half forward. Robrin very wide, but a one-hander pulled in by Crawford.
Salmon just got ahead of the play here. Big Matty Allen was sort of caught up in the play, and Salmon got forward of the play as he tends to do on occasions, and got a couple of handy possessions there.
Hawthorn almost playing a bit like Melbourne of yesterday, just chipping the ball around, trying to stop Carlton's run now. I reckon Silvani's going to be given a rest here.
He got a bit of a knock actually, Doom, and it looked like an old-fashioned corky to me, just on the hip, and he was hobbling around for a bit.
He won't be able to go to the Logies tonight. I think he's going there with his lovely wife Jo, so that'll be the end of that.
I reckon he's gone in to get a shower and get in there early.
So he can get there when the corks are really popping.
Big Fish has slotted that like the full forward of yesteryear.
His first score for the day.
Yeah, look, Doom, I get that impression as well. We're just talking about it here. It looks like they're all pushing up and playing more like 2/3 of the ground and not giving the Carlton players any room, and then just chipping the ball around until they can find someone free. And you know, Salmon has now gone in the goal square, which I think is a pretty good move, and give Nick Holland a run on the ball just to try and free him up from Mick Sexton.
Now, Dennis Lance Whitnell's come on, 17, 18-year-old, only playing about his 5th game, straight into the back pocket. Would you keep him comfortable where he knows up forward, or would you put him under a bit of pressure up there?
No, I think it's a great learning experience for a 17-year-old to play forward and back. It gives him a real good experience and a real good initiation in AFL forward. It's like at both ends.
And it's not a bad time to do it when you lead 86-42 late in the 3rd quarter. Bradley. Sun could be a problem in that part of the ground. Kernahan. Well, he's missed nearly everything else. What about this?
Just looking at Darren Pritchard run back there with the flight of the ball. He got cleaned out a couple of times during his career over the last 4 or 5 years. And the last time when Merritt got him in Queensland, Alan Jean said last week he believes that basically stopped him being the dominant player he was. And he just doesn't even have that same pace that he used to have. But what a great player he's been for the club.
He used to be on the wing though too, Dermy. I mean, it's
Absolutely, but I mean, he's even lost his pace now. His zip.
Oh, that's a good mark.
He's been great, hasn't he, Gary? Dennis.
Oh, they've been superb coming out of the back half. Hickmott, Christo, Sexton, they're playing with great confidence. They're prepared to share it around until they find the right option. Here they go again, and Glenn Manton's run down the length of the ground to take one.
And Ange Christou still going at 100% for 17 possessions. That's phenomenal. Here's the youngster Whitnell into Allen. Look at the support.
Yeah.
Sexton from centre half back to
Great
Kernahan,
running.
the full forward.
Just great running. I mean, they all were prepared to run into a man, the Carlton back line, and they got into a little bit of strife there, but because they had support, they got out of trouble.
Well, I watched Anthony Condon run down there, and it's just about the first time I've ever seen Condon not make a realistic attempt to get his man.
Sorry, Dermy. Nick Holland
right.
just pushed back very, very hard then and basically forced the ball out of Kudafeti's hands.
In this third quarter, the Blues have come to a standstill. They've just kicked 2 goals and Hawthorn 2 goals. So the game has meandered a little bit in this quarter, going nowhere.
As a result of that squeezing up, I think, Drew, they just ran out of space, and the goals have dried up, which probably suits Hawthorn, because if they had the game keep on going in the manner it was, then they would have been absolutely no chance. At least now they've got some sort of hope.
You can do that sort of, play or non-play making facet on the game at Optus Oval too. It's a bit shorter.
Blues outscoring the Hawks by just 4 points in this quarter after leading by 41 at half-time. Chance for Condon. Stevenson, good hands. And Salmon's in the goal square with all the heart on Manton. 2 former Essendon players.
They'll double team him here.
Chick at the back. It's still there.
They were lining up, they just couldn't get a boot to the ball there, and they rushed it through for a behind. It was rather comical.
There's Whitnell out wide. Excellent kick by Christo.
Still going at 100%. Big Ange. Whitnell is kicked to half forward.
He is moving well, Kernahan.
Ball dislodged in the tackle. Let's play on, isn't it? You dislodge in the tackle.
Yeah, he probably saw the umpire knew he saw the tackler and tried to beat him though, so they make it a split-second decision in that regard.
Tell you what it was a free kick to Hawthorn, which is a rarity.
Well, it's double their free kick receives now.
A couple of good uses of vision there from a couple of Hawthorn players. A little bit earlier, Chick could have kicked to a 2-on-1, but had the presence of mind to go inside where he had a bit of room, and now we see Brad Scott, twin brother of Chris Scott, the Brisbane Lions player who's suffering with a few injuries at the moment, having a shot at goal.
Don't think he could make the distance here. Salmon's up behind the man on the mark.
Paul Salmon's led and almost ends up kissing him.
Well, they've got it out of there, the Blues, and look at the skipper covering ground. Kernahan across to Murphy. Well, they've been a 2-pronged forward line, and here they are in the last line.
It's amazing. Mark Graham dragging him down the ground again. Sticks equal to the occasion.
Yeah, he looks in very good nick, Sticks Kernahan.
Well, I remember last time we saw him, Dermy, he'd missed about 6 weeks with that finger, and the first couple of games back, big guys tend to take a bit longer to get used to it again.
Now, there's an interesting matchup down here in the goal square. They've elected to go with Glenn Manton on Paul Salmon, and Michael Sexton's picking up the smaller Crawford.
Whitnell back down forward and it's gone straight to him.
Whitehead's kick on the bounce to Whitnell. 60 metres out from goal, and look at the hole developing here for Beaumont.
Good vision there.
Off the ground, McKay.
There's Graham again. He hurt himself in that contest, Dermy, but you said, I hope he digs deep, but he's certainly done that this quarter. He left Kernahan again and went to the contest. He got one across the bridge of the nose. He's a little bit groggy, but hopefully he keeps going.
I'd say that Manton's put his hand up and said, well, I played with Salmon at Essendon, but he's put his hand up for the job if he goes forward, Salmon.
Do you have any instances of that, Dennis? Players actually suggesting they play on an opponent?
Oh, I love it when a player puts his hand up because, they're really confident about their approach. And I think Glenn Manton, who was in the top half a dozen marks in the AFL last year, and I don't think it's a bad choice.
Well, severely strained, but Barry Gavin, the physiotherapist from Hawthorn, is not willing to speculate at this point in time. Let's go with the final quarter. Carlton versus Hawthorn.
And the Blues by 44 points. Kudafiti's the hand pass out. Ratton to Bradley. Long to the goal square. Manton still a chance.
Bradley's had 19 possessions, Dermy, and Woody, who's been sitting on him, has only had 67% for Bradley. So, again, once he gets going, he's damaging.
Yeah, I'd say Woodsy probably look back at this and think this was perhaps his worst performance for the year on taking somebody out of the game, because he really has sat on him but hasn't cut him out.
They're very good, Carlton, at getting it to a player who's going to be most effective with the footy. Like Ratton could have gone and ran with it and kicked the football, but was happy to give it to Bradley, who's very good in that situation.
And Holland marks.
Hickmott should have gone then. You'll see on the replay that he turned around and looked around. Pritchard did it earlier in the game, and filling up that gap is so important. Little guys can do so much damage. See here, you'll see that he's just looking at the ball, Hickmott, where he could have perhaps turned and gone for it himself, and at least he would have created the ball or made the ball come to ground.
Well, that's perhaps the style of play, the passage of play that they perhaps would have liked right at the start of the game. Get Nick Holland into the game and give himself a real chance.
Can he break his duck? Yes, a goal.
I mean, he never gives up, Nick, and again, that was good. Once he got off, he led a little bit to the right, then came back to the left again as sitting from behind goals where I am, and a little bit of space. It was a beautiful kick.
He's a good athlete, Nick, very good athlete, but even on that situation, you see he's kicked the goal, and the first 20-metre walk back to the goal square, Sexton walks in front of him, and it's almost like, yeah, you got that one, but I got that one, but you've been on top all day. Even if you're down, you've got to turn around and even give the body language, hey, I'm being beaten, but I could kick another 4 in the next 10 minutes. You've just got to always do that, try and mentally get something on your opponent.
Well, something happening here for the Hawks. Salmon wins in the middle. They're inside 50. Oh, Stevenson's down hurt.
It's great listening to you, Dermy. I mean, really, having played on you, and also the fact that you knew that guys like yourself and Stephen Kernahan, for the young kids out there, never give up, basically. It's always a matter of go, 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 and that was always the scary thing about you. You could turn around and kick 2 or 3 in 1 quarter.
Well, you have to believe that even if you've been totally cut out of the game, you've got to have a feeling through yourself, as we see Salmon get one arm pinned and that was only ever going to be holding the ball. You've got to have it radiate your own feeling that, yeah, I'm chopped out of the game, but it's going to be fantastic when I win the game with 3 goals in 10 minutes. If you can have that belief in yourself, no matter who you're playing, you're never out of the contest.
16-3 now, the free kicks. Bradley goes down. Play-on says the umpire. Robrin back at half-back. Little underground hand pass. Woods. Condon at full stretch. Couldn't take the mark. Bradley did well. And it's to the 50. Well done, Robrin.
He's worked all right today, Robrin. He's once again, the handball didn't find the mark, but that's just, you know, a bit of composure, I would suppose.
Kernahan charged hard at it. Graham.
Oh, it's a bit of an ugly passage of play there, Drew. There's some pretty tired boys out there. Craig Bradley really running hard, and actually we got one of the matchups that we wanted. We've got Peter Dean and Anthony Condon going at it together, so maybe we'll get to a bit of life in this last quarter.
Hey, Dennis, would you actually tell someone like Deanie, if you were the coach, would you say stay away from somebody who will have a red-hot crack at you?
I certainly would. He's a very important player to Carlton. Just to watch before and during the 3rd quarter how hard he attacked the footy, and his teammates ran to him to congratulate him. And he's an important player for Carlton, Dooney, when he's on song.
Here's Graham up at half forward, 50 metres out. His shot for goal is good. The fullback gets the goal.
Well done. I mean, I've got to take my hat off to Mark Graham today. I really thought there was a chance he could have gone into the acceptance stage, but look at the Hawthorn blokes rally around him. I'd even go as far to say he is perhaps Hawthorn's best. He's had a couple kicked on him, and a couple of blokes have led him to the ball on occasions, made a few blues, but he can hold his head high. He's looking down at the ground now, but that's only because where the team are on the scoreboard. But yeah, I take my hat off to him at the moment.
Well, he's playing forward now, and no one's picking him up at the moment.
Well, it's that battle of wills.
Stephen Lawrence has gone to fullback on Stephen Kernahan. Mark Graham, I think he's gone somewhere half forward or through the midfield now.
Dean's picking him up now.
Yeah, Peter Dean's his opponent.
The good thing about Mark Graham, when he does play forward, he doesn't have to start at centre half forward. He can start on the wing, and he will just find the position on the forward line. He's such a good athlete and good runner.
Koutafidis, he's just about holding the ball. He went the old hold it in one hand trick. Scott gets it out. Crawford, some sort of a hand pass to Lord. Leading possession winner on the ground. Holland.
Oh, what a net.
Now the Hawks are coming at the Blues here. They've kicked the first 2. And if Holland can kick this, that's 3-0 in this last quarter.
I'm a bit worried about the umpire's geometry here because he hasn't lined him up correctly.
You think he should be on a greater angle, Derm?
No, a lesser angle. Well, that's a little bit of composure there for you also. Seeing the player coming in to force pressure onto him, Bradley, and stepping around him. Last time I saw somebody do something like that at that end of the ground was Lee Matthews.
Interesting thing here too. I mean, Carlton, there was about 3 or 4 players, Hawthorn players on the other side, right in the middle of the ground, and really the Carlton players didn't even go over to pick them up as quickly as they should have. So they wouldn't want to just take the foot off the pedal at the moment. They might get a little bit of a shock.
Well, I think it's 2 goals off being in the danger zone for Carlton before they really, say, hey, this team's got a chance here at the moment. Only 3 goals, but the points are also significant. 2 goals behind in terms of behinds as well.
Percentage crucial, though, these days.
Yep.
Interesting that last week the Bulldogs outscored the Hawks by 45 points in the last quarter. If the Hawks can reverse that today and outscore Carlton by 45, they'll win by a point.
Well, the Diesel's back on the deck.
Just replaced Anstey. Good tackle.
That has holding the ball.
Leckis, that was a good chase.
They've grown an extra leg, Hawthorn. They got all the momentum at the minute, and they just need 1 or 2 more, and it could be very interesting. Some of the gaps starting to open up.
Dennis, what do you think about that? I've got my own opinions. Transferring play like that, just straight away, without even thinking.
Well, I think sometimes you can make your teammates up the ground lead for you. In a situation where you're behind, blokes lose a bit of confidence, they stand and watch. And if an unexpected possession, a switch across the ground, it makes everyone switch on up the other end of the ground.
Yep.
Here's Scott centering. Crawford camped underneath it. Rose it. Kick smothered.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt about that. If you change the direction of play, if you've got forwards that are fit and do run hard, they will beat their opponents to the other side of the ground, and it does force them to lead and lead correctly.
Down the middle, this one. Oh, no.
Giving that a bit of height.
Well, actually, he did look down the middle, but there's no options there.
It's just about being best on ground, man, today, I think.
Yeah, terrific mark. Kicked 3 goals, 1. Blues back into attack. Williams waits at the back. Put this down for a goal.
Yeah, we just... I can hardly hear, but we just commented on that. Harford is matched up on Williams at the moment, and it's just interesting. You wonder whether they could get more out of Harford up in the middle of the ground, but they had a 2-on-1. Williams elected to stay down. The ball fell over the back, and gee, if you go 2-on-1 in the goal square, you've got to mark it, I think.
No, you're exactly right. It was excellent anticipation by Greg Williams.
See that Williams actually moved Harford into the contest as well and stayed down himself. He was actually thinking about that scenario before the ball even got to the hands.
Yeah, so the rule of thumb there is your opponent jumps, so you jump with him. If your opponent stays on the ground, he has to stay on the ground.
Well, a steadier for the Blues after the Hawks had kicked the first 3-0. Stevenson, intercept by Koutafidis.
Amazing. Whitehead's down in the forward pocket by himself. The Blues get it out.
That's Stevenson's man.
Yeah.
Good tackle by Lord. Chick for the Hawks. Christou a punch. Ratton. Dean with a bit of time. And Manton has covered a lot of territory. Beaumont started the game on the bench. Well, slow build-up by the Blues, and that won't hurt. Tick the clock down a bit. Their lead is still 32 points. Beaumont again. Could be 50 against Woods. Nope. Now Stevenson at half-back. Allen dives. Play on, says the umpire. The carriage must have been touched off the boot.
Yeah, that's a strange one there.
Well, it might not have gone the required distance, gents, do you think?
Maybe. Stevenson. Treleaven had to go backwards. Harford. Crummell. Taken to ground. Ball, say the Carlton fans. It spills to Bradley. Robin's punch straight to the front to Whitehead. Good tackle by Stevenson. Well, this man keeps on getting the football. Glenn Manton, 11 marks and 19 possessions.
Just watching Hickmott running down from the back half. He hasn't stopped running since he's been down in the Carlton forward line, and he had a shot at goal and went it right across the front.
Oh, wouldn't it be good to be young and fit again and run like these blokes?
Steve Silvani with his thigh heavily bandaged, loosening up as though he wants to come back on. Ratton. Whitehead with a bit of pace. High ball. Kernahan. Williams. So dangerous. Oh, that's great. Hickmott. Funny old kick.
It's touched off the boot, Drew.
Harford for the Hawks. Now they can rip it down the outer side here. Looking for Treleaven with Beaumont.
Well, they've got the overlap on if he can get up quick enough.
Harford following up. But the kick not great. Chick gets it back. Well played. Lekis.
Oh, good leg speed.
Graham offering the lead. Kicked a goal earlier this quarter. Moving well.
Good lead, Nick Holland.
Oh, excellent mark.
Good call, Tim. He was a great lead.
Yeah, he was hard at it.
Stevenson on his own.
He should play on. He should take on Williams here. He's a
And
good
the
kick.
kick is terrific.
Well done, guys. That was great. The young blokes just really all grown, like you said, Dermy. Great leg speed to make the distance. Almost fumbled it, got it again. Great lead up the middle. Again, the focus, and Dennis, you guys do this a lot, isn't it? That 50-metre centre, 50-metre, 45, 50-metre area is just so crucial to get the ball to. Just here where Nick's marked it, so it's crucial for most sides.
Oh, look, it's important to get the ball into the forward line as quick as you possibly can, and I think your chances are enhanced when you do that, Craig.
Well, 4 goals to 1 in this last quarter. 26 points the difference, and we're less than halfway through the term.
It looked better with Graham across half forward. He's just given him a good mobile target to complement Nick Holland, hasn't he?
Yeah, but I really would have liked to have seen him up there earlier, just because Sexton, well, he doesn't like those players who do bend around on their leads when they're on a lead for the opposition.
Samet won it twice out of the middle. Taylor did well, but a costly slip by Crawford.
I don't think the kick was greatly to his teammates' advantage.
Hickmott's kick to centre wing. Koutafidis, Whitehead, Whitnell, but knocked away by the Hawks' defence. And Robin gets it from Crummell. Stevenson, centre wing. Next couple of goals for the Hawks will make it mighty interesting.
Well,
high kick
it's going to be
into the
all right.
sun. That's got to be
well
a free
done.
kick.
He's got to be consistent, the umpire. Darren Goldspink, the umpire there. They paid it against Nick Holland at the other end. Stevie Lawrence in the first quarter. And
Well, he had his eyes for the ball then, Dermy. He didn't take his eyes off the ball once then.
Yeah, but if the player's coming forward and you're running with the flight, you can't make contact with them, Craig. That's the ruling.
16 to 4 the free kicks. They can't buy a free, the Hawks. Go on, argue it out, Ned.
I'm just waiting for the ball to go to the bend, and now I'll have a go at him.
Right.
I thought if you focus on the ball and you can run with the fly of the ball, so long as your eyes never leave the ball, you can run back as hard as you like.
Yeah, well, there's no doubt there'd be a grey area in that scenario. And perhaps he did do it, and perhaps he never knew the opponent was there, but I thought it probably... Oh, don't you start. Look, the umpire's had no bearing on this game whatsoever. I was just posing that question. Good lead.
Pritchard on for Kapler for the Hawks.
Yeah.
Whitnell to Christou in the middle. Whitnell gets it back. Christou gets it back. It's a long way home. Whitehead the only chance for the Blues. Stevenson dropped it. Whitehead.
It's amazing how many times when the Blues go forward, their goal square's vacant, and you know, it's obviously a set tactic of the Blues to keep it like that. It gives them a lot of chances for players to run in with the flight of the ball.
Great shot of a young Koutafidis fan. I wonder if that kid can spell Koutafidis. I can't.
Well, yeah, I wrote an article the other day and his name appeared in it 4 or 5 times and I had to look up the footy record every time.
For 11, very quick. Chick over his head. Woods slides it on for 11. Pritchard just back on the ground. Condon.
He's given it enough space. It could be good here. No.
Holland didn't go for the mark. There's White. Not a bad kick at this stage of the game.
Yeah, just didn't put it out into space enough there, Ned.
Well, it's a hardest kick, isn't it? Because you can always have your angles covered as a backman. It really has to be pinpoint the kick to get it over the distance that's required to give the forward a chance. And like you said, Derm, we just didn't get there enough.
Crawford about to come off for Hawthorn, and Tallist about to resume his responsibilities.
And O'Sullivan on for the Blues for Whitehead. So the coach is making a lot of switches. Allen dashing back towards the goal square. Chick did well. So Dennis Pagan talking about changes off the bench. Late in the game when players are tired, would you be looking to...
That's what I think. That's what I think David's done here. He just took Whitehead off and brought O'Sullivan on. He wants to make sure there's plenty of run in his players at the finish. And I think David Parkin's used the bench very intelligently today.
Do you want one more on the bench?
No, I'll leave it as it is, I think.
Good on you.
Here's Craig Bradley to the goal square. Murphy.
They're getting a little bit angry, young Bradley Scott. They got a little bit of fire in on the boys from the Eastern Rangers. But they've had that match-up down here in the goal square for quite some time, Scott and Murphy, and he always sort of we're a little bit worried about his ability to contest in the air, but they've got away with it to now, but pretty important mark, and this could be, there's still a bit of time left, but it'll make it very, very difficult if he slots this.
That screw kick that goes end over end, it's always going to drop quickly. When the players are running forward and the bloke in the front has got more height, very difficult to combat.
And Murphy kicked 2 in the first quarter, but none since.
Good kick.
He's third.
He goes in and out of the game a bit, doesn't he, guys? He just can be fantastic, but consistency and being able to stay in the game is important.
Yeah, it's the way they played him too a bit. Like he started I think he started on the wing in actual fact, and then took half it down into the forward pocket where he got very, very dangerous, and then they went through a period where it was pretty quiet. They brought him back up onto the wing, and now he's back here again. So they move him around a little bit, but he's still very young, and he's got some ability.
Steadier, 32 points the margin, and the Blues have brought up the 100. They lead 100 to 68. Lord. Crawford in a hurry off the left. Dean let the ball get behind him. Holland a tap, will it work out? Ball out of the air, and Dean marks.
Right idea by Niggers, just a bit too hard with the tap.
Across to Beaumont. Manton. Taken off it pretty well there by Chick.
Yeah, he just shoved him forward with his momentum and held his own ground.
Condon stands his ground.
Hasn't Ange spoiling? He's spoiled like 5 or 6 times today, and not just down by his feet. The ability to spoil a long distance really can cut sides up.
Aaron Lord's been fantastic, 32 possessions at 60%, so busy day, he can get the ball.
Ange's stats there, 97%, 23 possessions.
Just on that spoiling technique, I know Gary Ayres used to actually, as a backman, he used to spoil and actually aim where he'd spoil to the benefit of his crunning players. So, I mean, Ange goes the other way where he just hits it so far. It's always to Carlton's advantage.
Well, that was an unusual kick by Ratton. I don't know that I've ever seen a bloke running in an AFL game at the same time as shielding his eyes. 8 possessions this last quarter to Ratton, 32 for the game. Whitmell. Magnificent goal.
He deserved to get that goal, young Lance Whitmell. It was a superb play on the boundary where he dragged the ball back in for Manton, and Manton got it over to him, and it was an excellent kick. But it could have easily have gone out of bounds.
Yeah, the good value there is that once he'd done the work to get it back in, he kept following it himself, and well, the benefits of going second at the ball, a second effort.
Bit similar to yesterday with Charles kicking that goal, forcing back and just following it up.
Too true.
That would be a contender with it. Not bad. We've just ticked up to the 20-minute mark of the last quarter, and the Blues certainly look safe now. Williams to Bradley. Wide to Kernahan. 3 pretty good names. Kernahan gets it back from O'Sullivan. The Rhino, a centering kick. Williams! Almost a one-hander. Allen charging through. Stopped by Hawthorn. To Scott. Holland.
Bad kick.
They called it early, Dan. It was just sat it up.
Just overweighted it, didn't he?
Oh, good mark. Nick Holland again.
He's come back into this game, worked hard, Nick.
Yep.
His fitness will carry him through every game, won't it? I mean, it could be an idea to run him on the ball in the last quarter because of his fitness.
Graham down towards the forward pocket, and Pritchard goes for the goal. Narrow angle, got it.
Yeah, he's a chance to kick those types of goals. Darren Pritchard, he's very well balanced when he's on a run and kicking the ball. A very good kick to a leading player such as Dunstall, and therefore when he's on the run going towards goals, he rarely misses. But oh yeah, the sting's gone out of the game, and I wouldn't be surprised at the 21.5-minute mark now if Hawthorn do get another 2 or 3 quick ones, because as I say, the sting's gone out of the game for Carlton, and it's just a bit of a training drill now.
Holland's gone to the middle. Good call, Gary.
Yeah, he's had 5 possessions this quarter, Ned, 5 marks, and he's kicked 2 goals, so he's finishing full of running.
Fish at full forward on Sexton.
Just in this last few minutes, though, you see Peter Dean, who has been a very valuable player for Carlton, and, well, Mark Graham on him. He will lead him to the ball just with the superior foot speed. So I think Peter Dean's days as playing at centre-half back on the bigger grounds may be numbered, because if you do get a player such as Mark Graham, he will run him around.
But also he does read it well and drop back off where he can be very, very dangerous.
But you really do have to be in a commanding position, Carlton, if you've got a centre-half back who drops off his player.
Yes. You'd make a great coach.
Oh, shut up, Cementhead. He's been a tremendous player, and his real value at the moment is a real reliable head who can go in and plug up a gap and anywhere on the ground. Hence when he went forward and hit Kernahan on the chest with that pass in the 3rd quarter.
Dennis Dermy couldn't afford the drop in pay, could he, to go coaching?
I think he'd make a good fist of it.
I said to Sammy Newman today, I'd go coaching and take the pay cut if Sammy Newman would be the ruck coach. The similar pay cut.
Yeah. Bradley decides to go for goal himself. Good kick from a standing start, but just didn't get there. Hawthorn.
He's a good player, Bradley. He's just run himself into the ground and he's still getting possessions and still driving the ball forward.
Been happy with Leckers today. He's had a go.
Scott. Kick inside half forward. Graham, did he get first touch? The mark paid.
Well, really, he shouldn't have got that. I mean, we're talking about it. He'd gone past the contest. Bad kick came back behind him, but he had the ability to stop and turn, and there you go. I mean, there's the good example. Deany perhaps not being able to turn around the space he needed. And
you're exactly right, Craig. When they were both facing the other way, Deany was closer to where the eventual contest was, and Graham had gone past it, come back and still able to mark. So that's exactly what I was talking about.
Mark Graham for his 2nd in this final quarter.
Yeah, he's been a good kid today, Mark Graham. Very happy with the way he's put in.
Well, he's had to went forward last week, kicked a couple of goals last week by memory, and you know, he is very flexible. That's a great thing about him. You often wonder if you've got a couple of taller guys back up forward, back for Hawthorn, whether or not he'd be better forward.
You have to really admire the Hawks, the way they've fought back. There's 6 goals to 3 in this last quarter. Carlton have been on song most of the day, nearly all the day, but they've never stopped trying, and they're gradually getting themselves closer and closer.
I'm watching the centre of the ground here, and Craig Bradley is just sooling into Matty Allen, just giving him a real G up to have another go just for the last final 3 or 4 minutes here. Never finished, Craig Bradley.
Holland's done all right in the ruck.
He's just about best man on the ground, that bloke. Manton. Superb game today by him.
Murphy out wide, he keeps it in. Good kick to Beaumont, 65 metres out from goal. Simon Beaumont goes for a raking kick. Williams gets there, but gets caught behind. Hawthorn, well done.
Diesel knew he was out of the contest, so just had to go at Stevie Lawrence hoping for the reversal free kick. Nearly worked too.
Yeah, smart play.
Straight up the ground, the Hawks. Robran. Graham. Good punch, Dean. Chick.
Oh, good tackle. Aren't they great tackles when the tackle actually busts the ball free and the ball goes into dispute again?
They've worked that well, the Blues. McKay. Hand pass didn't quite carry. Hickmott's been good. Beaumont, shepherded by White. O'Sullivan marks.
And the crowd love Rhino. I thought he might have got a bigger cheer than that when he got it. If he swings around and sticks it down someone's throat, they'll give him a cheer.
And Kernahan. Well done, Lawrence, to get back. Leckus. 25.5 minutes gone in the final term. 106 plays 80. So a 26-point margin. It was 31 at quarter time. The Hawks have made sure that it hasn't been a percentage blowout. Salmon.
Oh, well done, Sexton. Just worked him under the ball. Never really thought he was going to spoil him in the true contest. So just worked him under the ball and knew that Fish lunging forward mightn't be able to get two secure hands on it.
Yeah, good call that, because he would have, he should have had the ball in front of his eyes. No way Sexton would have been able to punch it, but smart thinking by the backman, like typical backman.
Allen off and Silvani's back on. So Bradley G'd up Allen for that last jump at it. It's probably spent him.
He must have been a forward then, Ned.
Graham, good effort. Out of bounds on the full though. Look, from a goalless first quarter and a 31-point deficit, the Hawks, and then losing Dunstall, the Hawks could have been bowled over by 100.
Well, this is exactly what the club has been onto their players for, you know, all this year about just giving the supporters hope. They know they haven't got the best team out on the ground in terms of on paper, so they've just got to give for the whole game.
Well, they've really done that. Beaumont, kick astray. Kernahan with Lawrence. Sticks Kernahan, going goalwards, hand passing to himself. Silvani on the forward line. And the soccer out was good by Harford.
And the crowd go up as Rhino gets a hold of the ball.
Soft's moving all right now.
Yeah, Silvani's kick. Kudafidi stands at the back. Hacked out by Lawrence. Robran, clever, hand pass round the back of an opponent. White for the boundary line.
How about that? He'll be happy with that. Young Sticks there was going for the goal of the year. He was going to take on 2 or 3. He's twinkled around him at the 28-minute mark and slotted on the left, but he got caught up.
Well, when you've kicked 1-6, you're probably going to look for a goal, aren't you?
It's been very good today, though. You're right. I think Dermot, you said he's moving well, or Ned, and he's looked like he could play for another 2 or 3 years today.
The thing about Kernahan that's impressed me today is when he's been on the lead, if he hasn't marked it, he's been able to do the U-turn very well and quite fluently, whereas he's been a bit rigid in his mobility over the past, well, even year, I suppose.
Kept in by the Rhino. Williams just gets boot to ball, concedes some ground and loses the ball. Woods to Leckus. They're really fighting it out till the death, the Hawks. Maybe there's time for another goal or two. Lord, a dive by Stevenson. Free kicks are now 18-5 in favour of the Blues. Stevenson pokes it up. Salmon's got the height. Graham. Rove by Taylor. Offline. And Scott was in the goal square.
Sorry, Drew, it was interesting then. We had Graham trying to tell Fish to get out of the road, stay back in the square, because he was pushing Dean up, and then with the idea of coming back and having better leg speed. But Fish crowded up his space, and it was basically 2 Hawthorn players going to the 1 ball.
Just on those types of matchups, Dennis, so obviously it's Parkin just giving his players a workout. It's not as if Hawthorn could have orchestrated these matchups earlier in the game.
Well, I just think the Hawks are throwing caution to the wind. They haven't stopped trying all day. In the last quarter, just the typical was that Stevenson play on when he took the chest mark, and I just think they're just playing with gay abandon at the moment. And fortune favours the brave, and it's been a very entertaining game. And even though Carlton have played very well, you just got to admire Hawthorn and never stop.
Yeah, they have had a go at it. I don't think it was anything to do with their application today, Hawthorn. It certainly points to the fact that they have been outgunned by a better team on the day. Carlton, who haven't been in great form over the last 5 or 6 weeks, have turned it on today. They've eventually run out the winners 15-16, 106 to Hawthorn, 12-9, 81.